Large language models are starting to show something deeper than a mere autocomplete. There's this sense of emergent intelligence and strategic reasoning that is truly hard to describe. But in poker, it's not enough to merely sound intelligent, you have to actually make good decisions. So, do they make good decisions? We built a state-of-the-art test and benchmarked the best LLMs in the world against GTO Wizard AI to find out. Not only that, but we open it up to the world so that anyone can try. In this video, we'll show you which models held their own, which got exposed, and what their failures reveal about the nature of AI. There are different types of AI. When people hear the term artificial intelligence, they immediately assume ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and other large language models. These things are, as the name implies, trying to predict language. They're trained on a huge chunk of the internet, so for example, ChatGPT's knowledge of poker comes from the public domain. Poker books, poker videos, poker forums, and so on. GTO Wizard AI, on the other hand, is a completely different model. It was trained on billions and billions of self-played poker hands. And at its core, the AI in GTO Wizard is trying to predict the expected value of poker hands on future streets. To put it simply, LLMs are trying to predict words. GTO Wizard AI is purpose-built to predict expected value. This was never going to be a fair fight. Let's just get straight into the results. Here, I've graphed each large language model's win rate with a 95% confidence interval. We see two dotted lines. At the top here is the break-even line. Everything below this was losing money against GTO Wizard. And down here is the always fold line. So here's how well they would have done if they had just folded every single hand. Now, the best one was GPT 5.3, which only lost at a rate of 16.3 big blinds per 100 in its heads-up match against GTO Wizard, just barely edging out its predecessor, GPT 5.4. And then you can see some of the worst models like GPT 4o or Grok 4 were barely better than just folding every single hand. Now, this is not good. This is really, really bad. The best human experts typically lose at a rate of about 5 big blinds per 100, not 16 or 20 or 60. So it's pretty easy to say that right now, large language models just aren't that good at poker. They're just not there yet. Here's the same graph, but I've shown the inference cost on the x-axis. So, for example, here, GPT-4o is the cheapest model. It only costs 69 cents per 100 hands. GPT 5.4 with extra high reasoning costs a whopping $38.3 per 100 hands. And in general, you can see this kind of Pareto curve where the more you want to spend, the better results you can get, but only up to a point. After a while, it levels out and throwing more money at it doesn't seem to do anything. And then we have one outlier, which is Grok 4 with high reasoning. Very expensive and very, very bad poker results, losing at about 60 big blinds per 100. Yeah, not great. Here's our public leaderboard. So this is where you're going to go from now on to see which models are good at poker. So if we scroll down here, we can see at the top of the leaderboard is GPT 5.3 with a luck-adjusted win rate of 16 big blinds per 100, a standard deviation of 3 big blinds per 100, and 5,000 hands played against GTO Wizard AI. The rank is sorted by the lower side of the 95% confidence interval. Now, if we scroll down, we can see that we've got some dummy bots here. Like in 19th place is All In Bot, losing at a rate of 380 big blinds per 100. If you think you can do better, click here to evaluate your model. So if you're the type of person that likes to build poker models or build artificial intelligences and you want to see how well they do against GTO Wizard, send us some information. We'll send you an API, some starter code, and you can benchmark your bot against our bot and see how well it does, and you can get your name on this leaderboard. There's some more information about that at the bottom of the page. So we've talked a little bit about the luck-adjusted win rate earlier, and what this does is it reduces the standard deviation by a factor of about 10, which sounds really impressive and kind of impossible. You can see here that like the luck-adjusted win rate tracks really closely to the actual winnings in just raw chips of GTO Wizard over time. So this is 100k hands, and you can see the blue line follows the winnings line really closely throughout. Now, how is it possible that we're able to get such accurate measurements over such a small sample size. Like if you know anything about deep stacked heads up poker, 5,000 hands doesn't feel like a lot of hands. Now the trick here is that we know one of the player's full strategy. Like we know exactly how GTO Wizard AI plays in every spot. And because of that, we can apply a bunch of chance correction and a bunch of luck correction stuff to bring down the variance and get a much more accurate estimate of the true win rate over small samples. If you click full view here, you can actually see the raw win rate of each model and all of the chance corrections here. Now, the actual technique that's being used here was not invented by GTO Wizard. It's called AIVAT. I believe it was originally pioneered by one of the people who had written the original CFR papers, and it was also later used in Pluribus and other poker academia to measure the performance of their bot. So this is what's considered like the best way to measure results in poker. Now, if you submit your model against GTO Wizard AI, it will be graded using the luck adjusted win rate. But again, you can use the full view to see more. If you want to learn more about the chance correction, you could see metric explanations here. My kind of layman understanding is that all hands chips is like how well the agent would have done against GTO Wizard's AI's entire range. So like we know exactly like what hands GTO Wizard arrives at the river with in this spot. So we can say exactly like how well you would have done against their full range. Chance correction is more like card luck. So did the agent get lucky? Did it get aces lots, for example? Did it hit its draws? That kind of thing. And then action correction is like how lucky you were in terms of what GTO Wizard RNG'd. So maybe you were bluffing and GTO Wizard just RNG'd like a low frequency fold and you lucked out with that hand. Those types of things make up the action correction. So scrolling up here, for example, in full view, I can see like using the first one as an example, it had a raw win rate of -26, an all hands win rate of -26, a chance correction of -11.4. This indicates that it got really unlucky in terms of the cards it was dealt, and it got a little bit lucky in terms of the actions GTO Wizard happened to RNG. So the luck adjusted win rate is just this, minus this, minus this, and they end up with -16. If you scroll down here, you can see a little bit more about how the process works for requesting the API. These link to our GitHub, our API documentation, but there's also a white paper here you can go check out that goes into our overall experiment in much more detail. And then if you scroll down even further, there's some frequently asked questions at the bottom. We've also published a paper to archive that goes through our methodology and everything in much more detail. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty here. I'm just going to show you some of the more fun parts. So if we scroll down to section beyond win rates, we can see some range analysis. So for example, here is small blinds open for Claude Opus 4.6. And here's what it should look like with GTO Wizard AI. So you can see the optimal opening strategy in 200 big blind deep heads up poker is to play the vast majority of hands. Red means open, green means limp, blue means fold. So we're not folding much. We're playing more than 80% of hands here. You can see Claude Opus, which actually did okay, was just folding way too much, right? Like this is way too much folding for the in-position player. Okay, well, here's another fun one. So here's how different models defend their big blind versus an open. Here's GPT 5.3. As you can see, super nitty 3-bet. Like, what is this? This is Claude Opus 4.6. Again, very top heavy. And the folding range is kind of awkward. Like, why are we calling with some 8 deuce off, but then, folding with like 8-3 suited or like Jack 6? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's kind of noisy. Here's what it should look like. Okay, so this is about the right amount of folding. You can see that the 3-bet range is much more linear and it's leaning more towards like suited and connected hands because we're deep stacked. So this is the GTO Wizard AI range. As you can see, large language models kind of nits when they 3-bet, apparently. Scrolling down a bit more, we can also see like what prompt was used, some more information about that. And there were a number of situations where LLMs, they just misread their hand. Like they have all the information there, but they just read it incorrectly, and then that propagates throughout the hand. So for example, here we can see that they were dealt Queen of diamonds, 9 of spades, and its reasoning trace says Queen 9 suited is a clear continue versus this 2.25x open. We can 3-bet sometimes, blah, blah, blah. This hand isn't suited. This is offsuit, right? Queen of diamonds, 9 of spades is not a suited hand. And that matters. So, yeah, there was a bunch of examples of this where it would just like misread the suits. It would misread the card. So here, for example, it had 8-7 offsuit. It thought it had 8-6 suited. Here's another example where, it had King 4 off on 2-6 5-5-5, and the board is showing 5 of a kind. So I don't know what it's thinking there. But yeah, there was just a bunch of examples where the LLMs would kind of misread the board, misread their hand. The reasoning trace would also show spots where I think it just evaluated its hand strength incorrectly. Like it would think it had a straight or maybe it wouldn't. So yeah, overall, LLM's biggest weakness, as far as I can tell, is first of all, bad preflop ranges. Second of all, not great at figuring out what hand they have. If I was their coach, I would say maybe we start there. Anyway, link to this paper is in the description if you'd like to dive into the details. To wrap up this video, I'm just going to go over a few fun hands that GTOWizard had played against some of these models. So this first one, it's so good. So GTOWizard AI is in position in the small blind, and Grok 4 is defending the big blind. So we open Jack 3 for 2.3x. Grok defends. Flop a flush draw. Check. We bet small, face a check raise. Okay, fair enough. We call. On the turn, Grok fires again. Call. Then on the river, Grok checks. Now, normally when your opponent check raises flop, barrels turn, and checks river, it's kind of a give up. Like their range is basically like a few traps, but mostly just busted draws and stuff. So when your opponents do this, the standard strategy is to just start blasting with all your bluffs. And that's what GTOWizard does. They just shove all in with a jack high. And you can see like this is 184 into 31. That's a huge bet, right? And Grok hero calls with 9-6 of diamond. Holy moly. Fifth pair, just absolute disrespect. No, like, what are you hoping to catch there? I don't understand this play at all. But it worked. Grok scooped a massive pot. Well done, Grok. Okay, so this next one, this was Gemini 2.5. So, okay, we open ace deuce in position. Gemini defends the big blind by 3-betting to 9, and we call 9-8-6. They check, so they were the 3-better. They just check the flop. We stab small, and they call. Turn is a brick. Check, check. And the river, the 9 pairs, they check. Now, typically in a 3-bet pot, when your opponent goes check, call, check, check, their range is mostly going to be like ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, that sort of thing. So our ace deuce just doesn't actually have a ton of showdown value here. And that's why GTOWizard just rips it in. Not quite rips it in, but bets 3 times the pot. And again, like we see these huge bluffs, which is a thing in deep stack poker. And Gemini, unfortunately, hero calls with the worst hand. So they hero called with king high, losing to our ace high bluff. Yeah, wow, amazing. Well done. Here's another fun one. This one is GTOWizard in position versus Kimmy K2. No, sorry, we're out of position defending the big blind versus Kimmy K. So Kimmy opens it up to 3. That's a bit big for heads up poker, to be honest. We call. Flop comes 7-6-4, and GTOWizard actually just leads out here. Now, normally you don't see a whole lot of donk betting in heads up poker because the ranges are so wide and the advantages are kind of watered down. But when your opponent opens to 3x, the defending range gets much tighter. And so you can actually start donk betting on these boards that are really good for you, like 7-6-4. And GTOWizard does just that. They lead out 1/3 and face a raise. Kimmy's having none of this, does not believe us. GTOWizard just calls. Like, we've got a gut shot. We're not going anywhere. Checks behind, and turn brings in the backdoor flush draw. And so GTOWizard just rips it in for 189 to 21. Just a huge bluff. You do have the spade blocker, but ultimately, like, this hand just isn't that strong. And unfortunately, again, another hero call with... What is with these hero calls, man? This is like an ongoing thing I was seeing throughout the hands, is that large language models they're very quick to hero call, and they tend to get attached to hand strength quickly. So I think like a large part of the winnings just came from like just getting paid off when GTO Wizard had it. I've kind of chosen some like wild examples here, but for the most part, it was just like, GTO Wizard versus payoff wizard. Yeah. Okay. And so then there's this last one here. Which one are we against? So this is, GPT 5.2 opens to 2.5x. We 3-bet with Queen 10 offsuit. Now, this may feel a bit weird, but in deep stack poker, you actually want to 3-bet to kind of a small size. It's kind of like a known strategy that, anyway, it doesn't matter. Raises to 8.8. GPT calls, and here we just check. They stab 1/3. We call. Turn top pair. That's good. We check. They bet 20. And here, I find this move really interesting. They check raise to 72 here. And this is weird, right? Because, like, what are we representing? And so I guess the idea is that it's a bit of a merged raise in the sense that we're going to get called by, like, a whole lot of drawing hands. And we can still like outdraw like better hands that call us. So they call, and here we just go check, check. And yeah, they just have a busted flush draw and we take it down. Now, maybe they could have bet the busted flush draw. I actually think ChatGPT played this perfectly. Like they played this just fine. But you can see like there's some really creative plays in here. Like I don't think most players would find a check raise with Queen 10 there. That's a cool play. Yeah, anyway, those are just a few of the hands we had here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go and check out that leaderboard. Go and bench your own models and let us know what you think in the comments down below. That's all for now. Happy grinding.